My friends, my family, my esteemed colleagues, today I want to just touch base about strokes. More and more people are suffering from strokes, and what we are being told actually is not true. And many things that we as doctors are doing or are being taught to do actually does not help the situation, it worsens it. Now, in which way? What is a stroke? Stroke is when part of a tissue or of organ becomes oxygen depleted because blood does not circulate properly and does not bring enough oxygen. So this, what is the cause of this? Well, it's always the same thing. We have a problem with toxic blood. Toxic blood creates a hydration problem on a cellular level, and this makes problems of blood circulation. Arteries and veins, likewise, become dehydrated and they start losing flexibility. In veins, we have valves which start collapsing, and what happens is the first signs of it, of course, we know are varicose veins. And people with many varicose veins, what happens? All of a sudden, they start having coagulum. They have embolus. Coagulation happens, and these coagulums can break away, and as they go into circulation, they can get caught in a small artery and prevent blood entering this artery, which will cause stroke. Now, this will affect heart. We are talking about heart because if it affects heart, we are finished. So we don't bother much if other part of the body, some muscle, has a little stroke in there, not a big deal. But if it happens in a heart muscle, it becomes a big deal. And what happens? Doctors know that in one point, the blood, when it circulates, start clumping up. The blood, the particles of the blood start clumping together. And you can see them as blood flows. It doesn't flow steadily, but it's like groups of particles coming. Why is that? This is because blood has very low electromagnetic charge. People like this usually feel very tired. Doctors know that when this clumping happens, there is a big possibility of damages, and this can also cause embolus. Embolus is coagulum, that flows in and it can block any small artery. Now, as soon as doctors see this, that blood is not flowing steadily, that is like a clumped particles, immediately they tell people, you see this clumped artery? We have to give you something to dilute blood. And what do they give us? They say, well, this is medicine, this will help you to dilute your blood. Well, they are not giving us any medicine. No medicine can dilute blood. They cannot raise the electromagnetic charge, which will then increase the magnetic field of a particle to separate them. Drugs don't do it. Drugs do actually the opposite. They're always toxic. But the drug that they give us is not something to dilute the blood, it is actually anticoagulant, because they know, well, if they can prevent coagulation to happen, then they don't have to worry much about the embolus, about some piece of coagulated thing to block artery. And people start munching these anticoagulants at very early age these days. Because why is this happening? Toxic blood lowers the electromagnetic fields, and with it, problems occur. Now, there is no problem of coagulant from a body to stop blood circulation in your brain. Why not? Because brain has blood barrier, same like placenta, and it will not allow impurity, bigger particles to penetrate. Brain is basically fed through lymphatic system. This is why it's white. So we don't have to worry about brain strokes when we have a problem with bad blood circulation. Yes, there are certain toxins that can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and we call them neurotoxins, just for that reason. One of them is garlic, and everybody eats the garlic like there's no tomorrow, calling it all kinds of fabulous names like a natural antibiotic, the superfood, and what do I know, it's all baloney. It is actually neurotoxic, and as such it's a medicinal remedy, but it penetrates the blood-brain barrier, and people who have a garlic constantly now are going to slowly create problem in a brain vessels, and they will start becoming brittle. The same damages that we create with other foods in our regular blood circulation through the body, now with the neurotoxins we are creating in the brain. So it's your garlic, it's your ginger, and it is alcohol. Those are the three biggest ones that create this problem. My friend from high school just last year ended up with a brain stroke. He was young looking and still riding his big motorcycle and teasing me about things that I'm crazy with these diets. He's enjoying his food and his wine and and bingo, now he's a half body paralyzed. Why? Well, alcohol, drinking too much wine. My brother, I believe, died from it, even though his wife still didn't tell me. No, it's stroke. It's a family business. Anyway, but I believe it was a brain stroke because he was drinking too much wine, too much alcohol. So when they tell you, you need red wine, it's good for you because it has antioxidant, well, only morons can think about it, think like this, and I'm calling morons the doctors that recommend this, like Dr. Mercola, for example. No alcohol in any amount can ever be healthy. So if you have something that may have something healthy in it, but it also has alcohol, bingo! Nothing healthy can come out of it. So now, when we start, another thing is, when you start taking these blood thinners, these dilutants of a blood, which are actually the anticoagulants, well, they also prevent cellular hydration, and they also penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So they will do damage like neurotoxins. And here, doctor is trying to help saving you from heart attack, at the same time creating possibility of brain stroke. So what are we doing here? We're actually worsening situation, because with this so-called treatment of giving a blood thinner, we are not really helping the body because it is getting further toxic, so the problems are increasing, but at the same time we are now poisoning the brain. And you can get aneurysm, because when blood vessels start losing the elasticity, when they all of a sudden start developing anomalies like aneurysm possibility. They can get constricted as well, same like a heart arteries. You can have constrictions of arteries in the brain. But what is the worst thing, and this is where the brain stroke of majority of elderly people come who are on blood thinners, your aspirins, and they have now all array of those toxic products. What happened is that they will stop natural coagulation of blood. So if you have any minor injury and you broke little artery, normally blood coagulates quickly and it doesn't spread. But if this doesn't happen, if you are using anticoagulants, now of course blood will not coagulate. So you hit yourself a little bit, and normally if blue will come, will be small part of blue. Well, all of a sudden you have this huge smudge of blue turning yellow. Well, this is because one artery broke, and because we are preventing proper coagulation of the blood. Blood seeps and take much longer to coagulate and affects much bigger area. So if you are on any of these baloney so-called medications, and if you get injured and you see that these big smudges are coming in your body, my friend, you are in an extreme risk of having a brain stroke. Why? Because it is very common that small artery bursts. And then when blood coagulates properly, 1 drop, 2 drops come out and it all coagulates. Again, I mentioned when I had made a video, or in my books or on my blog, you can read about it, of electric body, how inside of the blood vessel it's positive charge, outside of the blood vessel is negative, blood particles are positively charged, so as soon as they come out to negative charge field, they bond. So it's like a coagulum happening right away. But when you are low on electromagnetic field, when you are low on energy, your positive and negative fields are very low and they do not really bond. And this blood just goes out and now it cannot coagulate and you just keep seeping. And if something happens that one little artery in your brain breaks, now the blood just goes out and it makes tamponade. It just starts slowly making pressure on the brain, and your brain, part of that brain, dies, goes numb, and this is your stroke. So doctors, not probably willingly, even though I don't know what other reason they would have, well, because we are not being told the truth in the medical school. So we are working with information we are given and not searching for other information, because the system is not allowing us. If you do not do the way how you are told to do things, your license goes away, and if, God forbid, patients die, you go to jail because you were not killing the people the way you were supposed to. Basically, this is the thing. People who are helping others with health and they are not following the guidelines of the industry, if something happens to a patient, these health gurus end up in a prison and they are being bashed. In meantime, licensed doctors are killing more people than all the wars and all the traffic accidents bond together. Almost every person that dies because of doctors' errors. Not that they made error on the knowledge that they knew. By properly using the knowledge that they gathered from the school, they are killing people. There is no doubt about it. Okay? Because even when they cannot suggest you what is the proper diet and how to cleanse your blood, how to regenerate your system, they don't know. They don't have a clue because nobody tells us the truth in the school. It's all controlled and brainwashing. So, if it happens that you read this message too late and you already had a stroke, but you are still functional, let's say partially paralyzed, well, please do the protocol. Cleanse your blood first, then allow your cellular cleansing, and then you can actually help by certain other means, like increasing the oxygen level in your body through, you can do it by drinking ozonated water, or you can do it by adding hydrogen peroxide to the water. Has to be food grade, in drops. Now again, I write about it, so you can read in my blog, in my book. You have to change the diet. Fat is not a problem. Your problem is the one thing that we are being told that it's necessary and it's good for us, which is the glucose, dietary glucose, glucose that comes through the food. It's a problem. It creates havoc in our body and it creates more or less all the chronic issues that we have. We have to eliminate from diet. There's no way about it. And another thing is you have to be able to trust the new information. If you don't, you cannot help yourself. I know it's very difficult because so far I haven't met anybody or saw it on any site that anybody tells the truth about glucose. Everybody is shying away from it. It's afraid to touch the subject. Glucose is the biggest problem to mankind, and this is why I think that, and I strongly believe that what Bible mentions as a forbidden fruit, it is the glucose, because in nature we cannot get it. We have to actually break the cellulose to get to it, and to do it we have to use heat. Or if it's grain, we have to smash the grain. And since these jobs of cooking were always women's jobs, this is why in the Bible says that Eve gave Adam the forbidden fruit, because we men did not cook. Even now, majority women are the ones that cook. So without cooking, you don't have access to it. So you can have raw banana. It's full of starch. Starch is glucose, but it's encapsulated in cellulose, and unless you heat it, you don't have access to the to the glucose. I write about it often, so this is something I always have to repeat because somehow it does not penetrate. So if you already have stroke, being brain stroke or a heart stroke that you survived, you, by cleansing your system and changing the diet, reprogramming your genetic expression, you can actually heal and heal 100%. Because even the stem cells will not work in toxic body. And this is why stem cell therapy doesn't work. Again, about stem cells, I'll talk about another time. Just remember that try to use your brain, your power of manifestation, and incorporate it in a healing process. So do the right thing, start drinking water with sea salt, so this way you can start cleansing, eliminate all raw vegetables, because they all have toxicity which may prevent cellular hydration. So you don't want to go through, okay, I can have this vegetable, I can get this one. The best is don't have any, you don't need it, it doesn't benefit you in any way, you don't need it. Okay, contrary to everything what we have been told. What you need is animal fats. You need your egg, you need your chicken, your fish, your pork, your beef, your lamb. This is our food and has to be as raw as possible so it can self-digest. All right, I think that I told you enough information. You have to think about it. Use your power of manifestation as well. So as you are cleansing, drinking water with sea salt, changing your diet, think positive, visualize yourself healthy. This is further going to give instruction of the cells which are going to be recovering to listen to the new information, not to go from subconscious, not to go to from the part of the brain that was programmed the wrong way, but to listen to your current information. Try to absorb as much of the new information as possible. It will make it easier for you to manifest. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Till next time. Bye-bye.